Story time. Okay, so I'm from the Midwest. I grew up on dairy and meat and cheese and salt and sugar. And again, I'm not dissing the Midwest, I'm just saying it's very much heavily saturated in salts and creams and all that type of stuff, right? So I was a very chunky kid and I loved everything sweet and I loved everything salty. And I mean, if you remember, I'm at the age myself, when you grow up with the little Debbie cakes and you get the box of 12 and it was literally only 99 cents. Yeah, I would smash a whole box of little Debbie cakes. It didn't matter what kind. Nutter butter was my favorite, and the zebra cakes. But that was just my childhood. Like, that's what we did. We'd go to the corner store, get our nickel candy and dime candy. Yes, we had that 25-cent candy. And so you fill up a whole brown bag and you just go hang out with your friends and chill and stuff, right? Also lemon heads. I love lemon heads. Just one of those things. I like things that had a shell to it that like I could kind of suck on for a minute or like chew it off and then still have something left to like eat. I was a very like intricate eater. I don't know. Textures is a huge thing for me. Anyways, I've always eaten this way, right? My family was very much into meat, cheese, cheese, a lot of dairy. Typical Midwest life, right? And we'd have like some vegetables, but it'd be canned vegetables. It was very rare that we had like fresh veggies. It was typically like out of the can and straight into the pot, put butter in it, bunch of salt. I mean, it was ridiculous. Looking back at it now, I'm like, I can't believe I ate that way. Again, no judgment to anyone else, but if you're gonna eat canned vegetables, rinse them off and then cook them in clean water and stuff like that. Whatever, that's just me digressing. But we would add like a half a stick of butter to the green beans, like literally a half a stick, or corn, or whatever it was, and then put a bunch of salt and seasoning. It was good, but it probably wasn't the best. And so when I was like, I think 15, 16 years old, I was getting horrible heartburn. Like, I mean, really bad heartburn. And I'm like, oh, why does it feel this way? And my mom took me to the doctor, and basically it was esophageal reflux, where they were like, sir, it's eroding your esophagus. You eat so much salt and so much sugar and all this processed stuff that you're eroding your esophagus. And like, it's basically just raw. And I was like, that scared me. The funny part is, at the time, my mom, you know, bless her heart, all she heard was, you're saying that what we eat is bad. Because, you know, she puts love into cooking, and it wasn't a diss, but to hear like something you're making for your kid is making them worse, yeah, it can kind of hit a different way. So I took it upon myself to start buying my own groceries. At first, my mom's like, what, our food's not good enough for you? And I was like, it's not that, but it scared me. It got me to the point where I was afraid, like, because at the time they were really talking about like cancer and all this other stuff, and I was like, I don't want that to happen to me. So I literally was like, I'm gonna take responsibility for my own life, and like I started buying my own groceries and eating more healthy. And I've always been a chubby kid. Like, I've always fluctuated. I think that's a lot of people's story. Fluctuate with weight up and down, even as an adult now. Like, you'll see in some of my videos, I have a slim face and then I have a chunky face again. My body usually stays pretty much the same, but you can tell when I'm fluctuating in fluids and stuff. So it is what it is. I've learned to love every shade of me. No, I don't really care anymore. But as a kid, you're very insecure, so you don't really know what's going on. So I got to the point of like doing the whole starvation thing and just doing water diets and eating less and just doing all the horrible stuff that you shouldn't do. And I lost weight, but then I'd have like loose skin and my body wasn't looking right. And so finally I met a friend who was like super fit, and I was like, what do you do? And they're like, I go to the gym, I take in good protein, like you're supposed to eat, you're not supposed to starve yourself. And so from there, that started my fitness and like health journey. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. And so I started, you know, really like buying stuff that was better for my body and what I considered more healthy. And from like junior high, well, I would say elementary to junior high, I was a fat kid, genuinely like 250 some pounds. I was at 6'1", 6'2" at the time, so it didn't look like I was that big, but it was enough that you could still see that I was a thick guy. So by my senior year, I started to really lose weight. Like by that time, I knew what my macronutrients and my fats and all that, everything that I needed to like have a proper diet. So I got fit really fast. And so by the time I left my family's home and I was in Chicago, that was probably like my fittest. I lived right around the corner from a World's Gym, so I was hitting the gym like every day, every week, all the time, and just knocking it out. And I was super fit and I looked great. But because of that, I learned that you can overdo it. So this is probably where my back issue started, because I would lift way too heavy thinking that that was going to make me more fit, when in reality, we have to remember that the body is a vessel. Yes, it can sustain a lot of impact and it can sustain a lot of wear and tear, but you don't want to add to that wear and tear too fast. So I had to learn how to literally relift and redo things that were fit for my body, because I'm still a tall guy, but I'm still have a slender build in a way. No matter how much weight I put on, I still have like that ruler shape, if you know what I mean. Like shoulders and everything's proportionate, but everything, hips is all the same, just flat down. So I had to learn that like the best stuff for me was like more stretching and yoga and maybe like walks and runs and stuff like that. So anyways, long story short, but not really, I figured out after a while that like, okay, heavy lifting is not meant for me. Definitely just sitting around is not my option, because I like to be active. So by the time I was in Chicago, I was still eating any and everything, drinking all this stuff, doing everything, and like my skin started to get crazy breakouts, and it never happened before. And that's when I'm like, okay, rebirth number one. I cannot eat the way I used to eat as a teenager, right? This is one of the parts of our journey that we forget to include. Like I still know adults who eat like their kids, and if it works for you, it works for you. But I'm like, with each new level of age, it becomes a new lifestyle and a new chapter. And so I was like, okay, I need to totally revamp how I eat. So by the time I left Chicago, my skin was breaking out, going crazy. And I was like, okay, I was in San Diego, fast forward. And everyone is a health nut in California, as you know. Just health freaks to the max. No offense, but I loved it. And so I met someone who was a vegan, and it was like a group of friends who were all vegans, and I was like, you know what? And there were different types. There was like raw vegan, pretty baseline vegan where they only ate fruits and veggies. Then some, they had like cheese and dairy once in a while. And I know that would be, some people call that vegetarian, but I still consider it like vegan-ish, because I'm like, if all you're eating is a couple slices of cheese, but you're never eating eggs or meat, and you're a vegan, whatever. And so they're a good group of people, cool friends, and so I really got into like veganism, and so I was practicing every level of it, and I just wanted to test my body. And so with it, I had to learn that every level of that diet is not meant for me. Raw vegan is definitely not meant for me. I know I'm gonna get people say, well, I've been doing it for years and it works great. Again, we all have different body chemistries and different makeups of our culture and everything else. So I literally realized, like with raw veganism, my stomach was constantly in pain. Like I was always pooping. It was running straight through me. Everything just felt like it was just going through me, and like I wasn't holding on to any real nutrients for me. And my stomach was always upset. And then on top of that, I didn't know I even had eczema, but apparently I had dormant eczema where it popped out, and my doctor's like, yeah, you need to add more fats back to your diet. You're eating all this water-soluble stuff, so you're basically just stripping away your nutrients all the time. So add some fats back. Because I was really eating just like fruits and veggies and everything, but that was about it. And so I was like, okay, and raw. You know, they were like, add some cooked back in there. Cooked is okay. So I was like, okay. So I kind of transitioned from raw to just regular vegan, where, you know, I'd have my cooked vegetables and some raw vegetables and fruits and, you know, healthy nuts and fats and legumes and all that. And so my skin started to really clear. So I was like, okay, this works for me. I can do this. And so that carried on for a while, but then I would lose a ton of weight, and I would just be super slim and thin. And again, it looks good, but I felt so much like a wave, like you could just blow me over. And as somebody who's a big guy, I like feeling like I have a little weight to me, like a little bit of something substantial to hold on to. So I didn't like being that slim. I didn't like feeling like I could just blow away at any moment. So again, I added back just a little bit more portion size. So like I would bulk up really fast, and people were like, how are you bulking up as a vegan? I'm like, it's really just portion size, you know. And I added back pasta and stuff, because at first I was like no carbs, strictly no carbs at all. And like I was literally, I mean like processed carbs, because everything has carbs, but I mean like processed pasta and stuff like that and everything else. So when I was doing this, I started to see that like I would fluff up really quick. I was like, okay, egotistically, I didn't like this, but health-wise, my body, when I go to the doctor and do blood work and stuff, they're like, you're perfect, everything's healthy, everything looks good, but I'm just like, but I look fluffy. And so this is the time when I would just remind people, like, I was like, where did I get this from? And I was like, I'm sounding like my own mom. Again, I love my mom, but my mom was one of those moms where she felt like if she fed you and you got thick, that meant you were healthy and she was doing a good job of feeding you. And I was very much a fat kid because of that. And so when I started to lose weight, in a weird psychological way, I think she felt like it made me look like she wasn't feeding me, which I'm like, Mom, it's not true. Clearly I eat. So it's okay to feel this way. But this is where a lot of cultural stuff gets embedded into us, right? Like, this is where I literally started to remember, like, seeing my family always eat large meals, saturated meals, large portions of meat, very small veggies. I was like, that was the norm. And I would think in my head, like, oh, this is how you stay healthy, right? Because we all looked stocky and healthy. And I'm not saying you can't be healthy eating that way, but we were just big dudes. And I was like, okay, I remember why you get so much weight when you eat this way. Because yeah, you're packing on protein, you're packing on carbs, you're packing on all this weight, but if you're not really moving around doing anything with it, it turns into fat. So, being active definitely does that. But as I learned, like I said, lifting heavy was not an option for me. So packing on all this weight and then lifting heavy was just breaking my body down faster. So I remember the first time that I was like, I have to rewrite my own ego. I have to rewrite my own consciousness. I have to literally become who I want to become, not who I'm being told to be. Before I left Chicago, I fell in love with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And then one of his books, I forget the title of it, but it's basically just learning how to rewire your brain. That's what his whole thing is about. And so that's when it really clicked in my head when I was like in San Diego, and I was like, this is what they meant by it. It's not just about changing my diet or changing my activities. It's also about changing my mindset and how I think about food, right? Because I used to go to the grocery store and there was things I wanted, but I'm like, that's too expensive. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a grown man. I have a job, I have money. This is not expensive. I can buy whatever I want. $20 for something is worth my health. Like, I don't care. And then some people are like, oh, it's like, you want to buy something for $5. I was like, yeah, you got to think about, like, that $5 is cheap, but it's also heavily processed. So $5 you get filled, but $20 you get healed. So, unfortunately, that's just the way this world works. I had to choose what was healthier. I'm not saying all food that's healthy has to be expensive, but it was me rewiring my brain to say, you deserve this. You can have it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna do this. And so back to the original story, I realized that, okay, I don't need to eat a lot to be big, because I was still eating like what I considered was healthy, but I was eating larger portions of like processed pasta and stuff. So it's always been this influx of up and down, up and down. It's like literally just like anybody else. Like, I have my slim days, I have my thick days. Right now, I'm super happy and healthy with the body I have now. I do remember, if you go back and look at some of my old videos, my face is super sunken in and slim. Yeah, I look cute, but I was also very much starving myself on some level. Like, I was eating healthy and walking every day and doing stuff, but it was still like, I barely ate. And as a 6'5" guy, I need to eat. I need to pack on some nutrients and stuff like that. So I found a healthy balance. So I take care of myself in that way. And so it was just interesting to go through that journey of learning how to refeed the inner child. Because it's like, I got used to eating what I was told to eat versus eating what I wanted to eat. And that was very healing for me. Like, it's an extremely healing journey, because it's like, I'm the adult. I get to decide. I get to choose. Like, no one can tell me what I can and can't have. And like, it was so liberating. And that was the first moment of like rewriting my own script for my ego. And that is when it became the rebranding. And I was like, how do I want to be? How do I want to represent myself? And so, that's what I told people, like, I'm vegan. And I was vegan, like pure vegan. I'm still vegan vegetarian, but I'm more vegetarian now, and I'll explain later. But I was vegan for like 8 years, and loved it, loved every bit of it. But even though I enjoyed it, as I've aged, I realized that you have to change your diet again because your body needs more nutrients in a certain way for aging to protect the skin and protect the organs. And it's like, you feel like you're doing everything right, but then your body's like, I need this now. I need this now. And I really am big on listening to the body, because the body is your spaceship, it's your vessel, so it's going to take you where you need to go. It literally picks you up from the bed, transports you to the toilet, to the kitchen, to your job, everywhere you go. Even if you don't think of it that way, it's a vessel for the soul, so it's transporting you everywhere you go. That's literally magical. That's how I look at it. At least that's how I choose to look at it. Some people can look at it as, that's just biological science. Sure, if you want to strip it down to the logical sense, whatever. But the more spiritual, imaginative sense, it's my spaceship. And so I want to make sure that my spaceship looks good, feels good, and it's running as long as it can, because it's the only one I have. And so I've gotten to the point where, again, I was doing really good, eating really healthy. I had a few little slips here and there where I kind of just stopped and ate and binged, because I was definitely an emotional binge eater as a kid. Again, coming out of the closet and doing all these other things. It's not easy, so the emotions have to go somewhere, and mine went to food, like most people. And when I started to think about it again, it's like, okay, food is a comfort, and it's a comfort blanket, but it can also kill you if you're not really paying attention to how you're eating and how you're taking it in. And so this was the rebirth moment, right? This was my awakening, the aha of, you have to remember that the body is chemistry. And like all things in chemistry, it's going to react or respond to different types of, whatever you want to call it, substances. I can't think of scientific words right now, but it's going to react to certain things that you integrate into it based on, again, the chemistry of your body at that time. When I was younger, I could put anything in it and it was used as fuel. As I got older, now it's more about refinement, literally like diesel. Like, you can't, all I accept is diesel, you can't put nothing else in me, no unleaded. That's a great analogy. When it was younger, it was unleaded, whatever. Now it's diesel. It needs to just be pure crude oil, basically. And so now I'm laughing because fast forward to now, I just moved to a more warmer climate. It's a more tropical place again. And the humidity is crazy. So I've had to learn that there are different things that come into play with humidity in your skin. And so there's things like tinea and all this other stuff, where folds and fungus and mold in there and all this. And it's like, because I have eczema, my skin started to flare up and flare up and flare up. And me being vain, because I'll admit it, it happens, I started plucking and pulling and scraping and putting chemicals on it and all these different things that I shouldn't have did. And I literally, my face almost melted off. Like, I had contact dermatitis, and it was like hives and breakouts and everything all over my body, and I was freaking out. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, I went to bed, I woke up, and my face was just inflamed. And I'm like, this is why you're not supposed to mix chemicals when they tell you don't mix like bleach and ammonia and stuff, or bleach and vinegar. Those are no-nos, don't do it. But they seem innocent just sitting there. They're just these liquids that are clear, and then you mix them, and it's like basically a bomb. So it was ridiculous. I used some, like, I think it's salicylic something acid, whatever, I can't say it, and some like pimple cream, and I put them both on, like, well, they'll both work, right? When I tell you my whole chin was bubbled up and melting, basically, I was like in so much pain. I had to wash my face profusely, and then that ruined the skin barrier. And then I was like, oh God, now my skin is raw, my face is bubbled up. Like, it was bad, y'all. Think of like Hitch when he ate the peanuts. It was that bad, I swear. So I had to take a bunch of Benadryl, and then I had to like put diaper rash cream on, which it really does help because it cooled it down. And I took some ibuprofen, and then I just went to sleep, and I called my doctor, and I was like, what do I do? And she's like, first of all, don't use any of that stuff again, stop it. And then she was like, just in case, if it is like a fungus reaction or something, we're gonna put you on these pills. And I was like, okay. And she's like, make sure you wash all your towels and wash all your bedding and just rotate it throughout the week. And I'm like, okay, like, this is new to me. I'm not used to tropical areas, but yeah, you have to make sure, because moisture is held in the air, and it can be held in fabrics and cause bacteria growth and all this stuff. So if you didn't know, now you know. And so it's like, attack of the towels. So it's like, I don't let wet towels sit in my bathroom. I put it out somewhere like that has a good air circulation to dry. Like I don't put anything on my skin that's just sat in the bathroom where it's dank and dark to just grow mold or bacteria or whatever. So anywho, because when I lived in the Midwest, this was not something I had to think about. The air was pretty dry. You just put your washcloth on the rack or whatever, and it's fine. In a tropical area, you can't do that. It will literally build bacteria and stuff. So, long story short, it was for about a week I was tortured, and then I took the medication, everything healed. But then I saw a little spot on my face, and I was getting vain, and I'm thinking like, what is this? What is this? So I started putting like, I'm thinking, because now I'm like brainwashed thinking it's fungus or something, I put like some antifungal cream on my face. I was putting it on there, and it looked like it was working, and it starts to peel my skin off, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? So then I tried to fix it again and start putting it all over my face, and that made my skin peel like crazy, because if you didn't know, antifungal dries you out. So now, not only is my face healing from the time I put this acid on it, it made it peel off in the acne cream, now my face is peeling again because of this freaking antifungal cream I'm using that's drying me out and making my skin, so I'm basically giving myself like a skin peel. Like it's crazy. So I learned the hard way. So I had to stop that. She's like, I called my doctor again. I know my doctor loves me and hates me at the same time. She's like, will you stop doing stuff to your skin? So I was like, fine, okay, I stopped. So I discontinued that. And she's like, if you need to, you can like use a soap or something like that's preventative. It's not gonna do anything. It's gonna harm you or hurt you. So I was like, okay, great. Me being me, I started using the soap daily, letting it sit on my face, and then my face started to peel again. And I was like, literally, I had like a week in between each one where my face was healed. I would do something stupid, my skin would fall off, and then I have to start all over again. And I was like, what is going on? Because back in the day, I would just put some rubbing alcohol on and my skin would be crystal clear. Like literally, that would just clear up everything. I can't do that now. Like I didn't ruin it because it can heal itself, but I was ruining my skin barrier because of vanity. And again, being into spirituality doesn't change you from being human. So I tell people like, I can understand spiritual consciousness, I can be emotionally tapped in and tuned in, but I still like to look healthy. I still like to feel that I am at my best, you know what I mean? So whatever you feel about what you feel, it is for you. For me, I like to have clear, nice skin, keep my teeth nice, keep everything intact. That's just me, okay? So anyways, then once I did this again, and my skin finally started to heal, this is when I was like, okay, this is the part of aging that they talk about where she's like, as you get older, your skin gets thinner. And it's something that it was like, I don't mind aging. I love aging actually. But to hear someone say like, you're older, get over it, get used to it. Like you can't do what you used to do. There's not as many fats inside of your cells as there used to be. So you can't go as hard as you used to. Chemicals that used to be more resistant are not as resistant to your skin. They absorb faster and they're gonna break your skin down. And so that was another awakening that I literally had to listen to. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, not only do you have to, because part of my brand is, and a part of a program that I have is rewrite, rebrand, rebirth. You rewrite the ego, you rebrand the soul, and you rebirth the spirit, right? This is what I believe in. All of this has been this is all part of the spiritual journey. The spiritual journey can be anything that you want it to be. Education, family, love, it's all of it, because each of it is teaching us something about ourselves and the soul that's incarnated, that has the soul life memory from the past. Because a lot of us, again, remember, we are imprinted, and we're based, most of what we know, on our ancestors telling us this is our culture, this is our life, this is what we're supposed to do. Even as just universal culture of consciousness, of this is what men do, this is what women do. Like that's a culture that we believe we have to do. And so, because I remember growing up, they were saying like men don't moisturize and men don't clip their nails. I was like, that's gross. His nails are long. Like, he needs to clip them. Like, or he's ashy. Like, why can't he put on lotion? I don't understand. So it was just all these dumb things that made no sense to me. And my mom's like, do not listen to that. Take care of your body. Take care of your skin. That's one thing she was always good about. She has all boys, but she's like, y'all gonna be some clean boys. Y'all gonna take care of y'all stuff. I don't care what anyone say. And when you're younger, people think like, ew, whatever. But when you're older, it's like, ooh, I like that. So it is such a double-edged sword of like weirdness to go from being told everything you do is gay, even though I'm gay, to then being told like, oh my God, that's such an attractive trait that you take care of yourself. So it's like, okay, whatever. And so, oh, he's big. And so this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I have to let my ego not be such a perfectionist. That has been my journey, learning how not to be such a perfectionist to the point that I ruin myself because I want everything to look crystal clear perfect. That's crazy. And you'll see it in a lot of celebrities where they get surgery after surgery after surgery and stuff, and they don't know when to stop because it's like, you always find something else where I'm like, we're not dolls. Like, we're gonna get wrinkles, we're gonna have crevices, we're gonna have bumps and pores and all these things that come with being a living vessel. We're basically a sponge, right? We just have tinier holes. So you just have to remember that whatever you put into that sponge is going to absorb and take into the system. And so I had to remember that. Even now, I just made my new grocery list where I'm thinking like, I went to the doctors recently and they're like, everything is perfect, your health is great, but like, you still need to cut back on sugar. You still need to get more protein. You still need more vitamin D. And I'm like, I'm out in the sun all the time. I'm always eating. They're like, yeah, but it's not enough now. Like, as you older, your body, or as you age, your body needs more. So now I'm learning how to actually properly build my grocery list. Before I would just buy whatever I felt that felt good. Remember, I went from being told strictly what I can't have to then buying whatever I wanted, to now I'm going back to, I can buy whatever I want, but I need to buy stuff that's actually gonna be helpful and not hinder. So now I'm relearning how to be like, okay, well, I need this amount of appropriate like protein, and I need this amount of appropriate carbs, and I need this amount of appropriate fats, and I need this amount of macronutrients and supplements. And it's crazy because I've never had to do this before. But again, I want to live as long as possible at a healthy state. Again, I don't want to be here forever, just when it's time to go, it's time to go. But as long as I'm here, I want to be able to move and be able to be as mobile and flexible and healthy as possible and conscious as possible as I can. So it's funny because I was making this list, and that's when I was like, I gotta make this video, because it's funny. It's like, we forget that along the spiritual journey, remembering the body is the most important part of the spiritual practice. Like, the vessel to me is the most important part of this practice, because the soul is going to go back to the ethers. When we pass from this body, the soul is going to go back to wherever the soul is from, right? It is magical, it's boundless, it can do whatever it wants. It can go inside of anything, but the body can't. Once the body's gone, the body is gone. So it's a very intimate connection, right? The body is such an intimate spiritual thing. Think about when you're naked. Like, we wear clothes because somebody said that it's too much. It's an intimate thing. So like, you're putting on all these clothes and stuff to cover up your naked body, your naked flesh. So when you're by yourself, naked, looking in the mirror, it's very intimate, right? It's you and your body. Like, it's the thing that you've had since birth. So I tell my body all the time how much I love it. I talk to them in the mirror, because my body's name is Jawan. My soul's name is JAH. That's why I tell people it's important to rename yourself. It's okay. When someone says, this is my nickname, this is what I choose to go by, call them that. That's their choice. It's not up to you to say, well, that's not your government name. Okay, great, whatever. So you're okay with the label you were given. Some of us want to rebrand ourselves and be in control of our own autonomy and our own sovereignty, right? This goes into sexual identity, other identities. Every identity is meant to say, it's my choice. It's my vessel. It's my choice. So get over it. I don't need to do this thing for you who never lives my life ever when I'm by myself. When I'm by myself, it's me and myself and I, right? So why can't I choose who I'm called, what I look like, and what I do with my body and myself? It's a very intimate practice. So it's still crazy to me that a lot of people base their conscious beliefs on what they want someone else to look like, or dress like, or sound like, because that really takes it back to the physical identity, which is more about pleasure for others. If I'm trying to look how you want me to look so you feel attracted to me, what sense does that make for myself? I don't care if you like how I look. I love how I look. So remember, how we eat, how we work out, how we take care of ourselves, it's for us. It's not for other people to dictate or decide, right? That's why it's really frustrating when you meet people who sit around and talk about other people's bodies and how they look and what they should look like. Oh, they used to be so cute, or they got big. Okay, and what are you doing? What are you doing to work on you? Focus on you. So this whole journey has taken me through this process of learning how, yes, vanity is a killer, but there is a level of, I would say, pride. I don't think pride is bad unless you're letting it be decided by exterior factors. I am prideful as far as I love being healthy, and no one's going to take that away from me. Like, I pride myself on being a healthy person. But I'm not so prideful that I think I'm better than other people, right? That's when it gets into a weird type of judgy state of being. And so when I'm able to rewrite that script, that I'm able to understand that everything on this life is a spiritual choice. The music we sing and listen to, the things we watch on TV, all of it, it's a choice. And it's spiritual practice because it's teaching you something. And then, for I say, the rebrand, where our soul, if you believe in incarnations, even if you don't, just, again, the rebrand of going from your parents' house to your own adulthood. Your soul gets to say, this is who I was, but this is who I want to be. This is where I came from, but this is who I choose to be. We all do it on some level. There's some people who are cookie cutter templates of exactly their mama and daddy, and they live that life. Good for you. Thank you, Raisin Brand. No offense. But if you want to be a cookie cutter template of somebody that you grew up with and you respect them, I think that's great. But don't come to me and say that you think my life is weird or different because I'm not doing what you do, right? We all have a choice. So the rebranding is inevitable. As we get older and change decades and change lives and homes and jobs, we're going to rebrand ourselves. A lot of us call ourselves who we are by our titles at work. That's why, again, it's so fascinating with the influx of AI, because everyone's freaking out about my job, my job, my job. But yet we say we don't want to be our jobs. We all say we're not our job. We're not meant to work this way, but then we want to be labeled as our job. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Again, humans invent everything that we utilize. Nothing is going to stop us from being creative, imaginative people. We're always going to find a new way to bring something new or reinvent something that's already here, or regurgitate things into something in a different frame of work, right? That's what humans are for. We have the insight, we have the know-how. So whatever technology does is technology. And so even right now, me being able to talk to this phone to you is, again, it's not stopping me from the human from having insight of who I am. It's giving me a tool to talk to you. Now, there are people, again, where they're focused on what they don't have, so they're only going to focus on what they're lacking, always. And so I always say, find ways to understand that even if you don't have access to the food you want, you have access to information. You have access to a lot of different things that will help you figure out what's my next step. If I can't do it now, when can I do it, right? If I can't look this way, hold on, I'm sorry. I was like, I got a runny nose, I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? But if not now, then when? At some point in your life, you have to take ownership of, how do I want to rebrand myself? And that's when the spirit gets to be reborn again. That's when the spirit gets to come alive again, because it's like, oh my goodness, like, I get it. I'm meant to be a part of something greater than just this vessel, but they all come back to the vessel. So when I remember again, like, even if my mind is saying, do this, do this, do this, my body is going to fight back. Like when I had that contact dermatitis, I mean, I had hives everywhere. It was rough, like sandpaper, huge. I mean, if you had it, you know what I'm talking about. It's not something that you want. The skin is bumpy. It's crazy. It's like leather. It is crazy how the skin works, how the organs work, how the body works. Its defense mechanisms are amazing and beautiful, but it's its best way of saying, stop. So you're doing too much. Stop. Listen to me. Stop. This is what disease is. Dis-ease is telling you, stop. Listen to me. Slow down. Come back to self. You're out here, and I need you here. And so I really learned to take that into my spiritual practice daily. Listening to the body is the most important thing that you can do on this journey. Again, it's how you tune in to your visions, it's how you tune in to your the sounds you hear, that aha feeling, just the spark, right? We talk about the clairs, all of them, the clairsentience, claircognizance, all of them, they're a part of knowing the body, learning how to listen to the body. My last few videos I talked about like meeting people and the dating aspect of, again, I'm on my journey, but I learned that I don't have to stop dating to be on my journey, but I can't give up my whole life and identity to dating. I was doing that. It's no, keep doing your work, but put yourself out there. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, again, like I said, I'm done with apps. No more apps. If I don't meet you organically, I'm good. Unless it's another way. When I mean the apps, you can meet through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, whatever. But I mean apps that are meant specifically for dating or hooking up, I'm good. No, thank you. That was a spiritual journey because I was very cocky about it. I was like, well, as long as you use them for talking and you just know how to network, you can find good people, and you can. But it's a lot of weeding through a bunch of crap that I'm like, I'm good. I would rather just go somewhere where it's already been weeded out and then go from there. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. It's fun for some people's egos to have a bunch of different people talking to them at once. But a lot of the times, it's just for ego's sake. You're not actually finding anything of substance. Once in a while, you might get lucky and strike gold. And for those, I say, I'm kidding. Good for you. But anywho, this message today was more so just telling my story of my everyday journey of health and how it is my wealth, and just how I take care of myself and how I continue to take care of myself as I get older, because I know that I'm gonna age. Eventually this face is gonna drop, hopefully not. It's gonna get wrinkly. That's part of the process. It is what it is. And if I'm old enough to see it, that's awesome, because I would rather see it than not. You know what I mean? The alternative is not being here. So don't be afraid of aging. Don't be afraid of fluctuating. Don't be afraid of letting your body become something different. Just don't let your soul change. The soul is the most important part. Again, when we leave this earth, that's what's going to be judged. And I don't mean judged by some sky god. I mean judged by your own legacy. How were you taking care of yourself? How did you take care of people? How did you take care of community? That's the part that's important. So don't get so focused and stuck on the vanity. Take care of yourself, be wealthy, be healthy, but also take care of the energy that's always trying to talk to you and keep you in alignment with your spiritual journey. So, as always, thank you for joining me along my spiritual journey. I hope that you enjoy yours as well. And please share it down in the comments, hit the like button, subscribe, all these fun little tools that you can do to just continually have somebody to talk to, because that's what I use it for. Just to have a place to let my voice be heard. And again, if someone watches it, that's all I need. If a lot of people watch it, great. If no one watches it, that's okay. I got it out of my system, and that's the most important part. So, anywho, back to what I was doing. I love you guys. Have a good one. Mwah.